Should you sell your home prior to auction, or should you buy a home prior to auction? Now, an auction campaign traditionally lasts for 4 weeks, and the auction is held after the 4th week's open home. And this time frame has been tried and tested, and it's a proven method for an auction campaign. Yet every week we see properties sell prior to auction. So why? What would trigger this? Well, it's a combination of a few different factors. Number one, a buyer's strategy for buying properties, how the agent deals with that, and what is going to get the best price for the home. So let's take a look at this from the seller's perspective first. What would make you want to sell your home prior to the auction? Well, I guess if you got an offer that was too good to refuse, that would make you want to sell your home prior, okay? But that doesn't mean that you're selling it to that buyer. This is where you need to be working with your agent to extract the most out of the market. So number one, you need to make sure that that offer is on a contract of sale and it's been signed by the purchaser. And what this does is it triggers the property on the market. Now, this is where your agent has to go back to all the other buyers and give them an opportunity, if they're at that level or better. Now, some agents will they'll disclose what that figure is, and if there are other buyers that are at that level or better, then they can bring the auction forward, okay, and start the auction at that point. So you know that, worst case scenario, that's what you're happy with, but it can only get better from there, all right? Another way that they can deal with it is they can take away all the transparency, and they can go back to the other buyers and give them a guide and say, look, we've received an offer that's above the quoted range. If you're at that level, we invite you to put your offer in, which, if they do, they will then go back to the original buyer and let them know that there is competition, and say something along the lines of, are you absolutely certain that that is your best and final offer for the property? So this can really put some pressure on the buyers to pay that much more, okay? So it's working out what strategy is going to work best given the buyers that you've got and the agent's experience at these negotiations, okay? But you need to make sure that your agent is working hard at this point, because there are some agents that don't do the work at this point, all right? And if they get an offer that's at an acceptable level, they'll just sell it to that buyer and they'll get the vendor to sign off on that contract. And it has happened where other buyers have said, you know what, I would have paid more. So you need to make sure that the agent that you've got is skilled and willing to do what it takes at that negotiation stage, okay? So from a buyer's perspective, why would you want to buy a property prior to auction? Why would you want to risk taking away that transparency? Well, I guess this comes down to a couple of different factors. Some buyers are reluctant to bid at an auction. Some buyers might think that it's a way of getting in first. Some buyers might think that they might, not have as much competition and be able to get the home a bit cheaper. So that they think that that's a bit of a strategy. But in all honesty, if you're going to buy a home prior to auction, your offer needs to be at a level that gets the vendor's attention, okay, and makes them say, yep, I would sell for that. So it's unlikely that you're going to get it for a bargain, okay, and it really can lead you down that path of, just taking away the transparency and ending up in a Dutch auction type of situation, as they call it. Sometimes agents will put pressure on buyers to, put an offer in prior to an auction. And in this case, it can often mean that that's because there aren't any other buyers, or that, that you may have indicated that your budget is a lot more than what the other buyers have indicated. So be very careful, and remember what I always say and what I always recommend. The best way you can buy property is at an auction, okay? And this is where I guess, if you need that expert with you to help you through this, this is what I do. So, and when you're selling, this is what I do. I help work out and make sure that that agent is doing their job at this negotiation stage. So thank you so much for watching. I'm always here to help. Remember, I'm Lisa Stafford and I am your expert in property.